presentation today, I have created a website, and at the end, I will give you the URL for that. I think of my presentations as kind of being like a buffet, in that I like to prepare a lot of things. I'm one of those teachers that likes to over prepare. So I'll kind of talk you through the basics, and then later on, if there are any aspects of it that you're interested in and you say, I want to go back and check out more of those links and see this more fully, then all of that will be available to you through this website. In March, whenever Governor Kelly announced that the school buildings were closed, I don't know what your feeling was, but I was really shocked when that happened. And I think of it kind of like this fire alarm went off and we're all in emergency mode and we're thinking, all right, we've got to figure out how to do online school. And so we jumped in and figured out how to do it. There were some schools that were prepared for this. They had a core collection of ebooks. Maybe they had a website with ebook links. They'd already talked to kids about ebooks, passed out the passwords, all of those kinds of things. There were other schools that were more the equivalent of a fire station that does not have a fire truck. You don't have a hose, you don't have any gear. Nobody is trained to do any of this. So whatever your situation, hopefully you will be able to, after today, to be able to develop a plan for delivering digital book services or refine your plan. Hopefully you might learn a little bit something new today. I like to think of librarians as kind of first responders in providing digital books. And librarians are called upon not just to do digital books for leisure reading, but teachers have been saying, okay, I want to do a book discussion group, or I need these ebooks for my students for a class assignment. So we're really being pulled into not just leisure reading, but also assignments, book clubs, and things like that. So today, we're going to be answering all of these questions. What free options are available? How can students access the ebooks from school and from home? What devices are supported? Are there ebooks that can be downloaded for offline reading or listening? How do we promote these things, right? It doesn't do any good to have them if our students and our staff and our families don't know about them or don't know how to access them. And then finally, if we want to purchase digital books for our school, what are our options and what is all of that going to cost? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. When we were thrown into this hybrid and remote learning situation, it was really kind of a 911. We are figuring it out on the fly and just kind of doing the best that we can. Now that we have a little bit more time to look at that, there are kind of three big questions that you're going to want to ask when you're making a plan for your school. So number one, what resources are right for my students? Number two, how do they access these resources? Number three, how do I promote these resources? Excuse me. And so that's how the presentation is going to be organized today. I'm going to be talking about those three items. When you are deciding what things are right for your students, you want to think about purpose, access, and cost. For me, when I was first getting ebooks for my students, I was starting off mainly for upper elementary, middle school, high school kids, and I was wanting to get leisure reading. So my goal was I wanted popular titles and authors. I wanted ebook versions of the regular books in my library that were very popular and were checked out a lot. But there are a lot of different reasons why people might need ebooks. You might be looking for content area curriculum. So you might be using them for research, for science, or social studies. I have a 6th grade science teacher who uses ebooks extensively every year with her students. So I am very willing to purchase science-related ebooks that go along with her unit because I know that every single year she's going to have students using those. And so I know that's a wise use of our resources. There are some schools that are using it more for reading instruction for the younger students. For me personally, in my library, I am not purchasing things that are for reading instruction, things like RAS Kids or Reading A to Z. Those are more things that a teacher would subscribe to for their classroom, maybe. So I'm not going to be talking so much about those today. Also, teachers a lot of times want students to be doing reading practice at the elementary level, and that can overlap some with your reading, leisure reading as well. And then if you're an accelerated reader school, you're going to probably want ebooks that have AR tests as well. One thing that I wanted to mention is when I'm talking about ebooks today, in general, digital books is a term that I use to describe both ebooks. And what I tell my students is the E in front of books means electronic. So instead of being a paper book that you hold in your hand, one that's sitting on the library shelf, instead, this is a book that's on your computer. So you're going to read it on a device with a screen. So that could be a smartphone, a Chromebook, a computer. And what's nice is that our ebooks are like a part of the library that's never closed. On the weekend, if you run out of a library book, get on an ebook. You can always get something to read. Christmas break, all summer long, it's a part of our library collection that's always available. So I really like that. Part of digital books is also digital audiobooks. So audio means listening. That means the words aren't going to be on the screen for me to read. Instead, I'm going to be listening to that book. So today, when I'm talking about ebooks, a lot of times I'm encompassing digital audiobooks with a lot of that as well. Okay, moving on to access. We need to think about what devices are supported for this platform. Is an app required? Where are these ebooks going to be used? Is it going to be school, home, or both? Can they be downloaded for offline reading and listening? This is really nice if maybe you have students that don't have a good, strong, reliable internet connection at home. They could come to school, they could download the ebook to their device, whether that's a school issued device or a personal device like a phone, and then they can have that for offline reading. And then you need to think about your login information. If you are getting ebooks for kindergarten and first grade, you don't want a very cumbersome login process with a long username and password, because that just isn't going to work very well, or it doesn't for me whenever I'm working with my youngest students. There are some ebook services that offer a link. So Tumblebooks is one example. We have a subscription to Tumblebooks, and they provide to me a link that has our username and password embedded in the link. So all I have to do is slap that link up on our library page, send the kids there, and they can click and get in very easily. There are quite a few ebook companies now that offer Google single sign-in. So if you are a Google school and you're using Google Documents and all of those kinds of things with students, that's really nice because they can just use that one login to get them into lots of things. And then when you're thinking about cost, you want to think about, what is my budget? Am I going to have money available every year to dedicate to my digital books or not? And what are the free options that are available? Librarians love things that are free, and there are a lot of good options there. When you're thinking about, do I have money available every year? Different ebook companies handle that differently. For some, you pay a subscription, and if it's a year subscription, you are using all of the ebooks that they have in their platform for a year. And then if you want to subscribe again, you can. And if not, you no longer have access to those. For some of them, you purchase them a title at a time. And sometimes, well, I'll talk about that a little bit later on the different platforms. But there are some that you have to contribute money every year to be able to access those. So free options are a really great thing. This is going to walk you through a few different options. And I also put information that's here in this brown box on this table. and it's free ebook and digital audiobook services. So you're going to be able to access this. I'm going to make it nice and big so that we can see it. On this table, you're going to see the name of the service. I have a link so that you can click and go to that service. It lists the grade levels. It tells you, is there a password required? Yes or no? Do you need an app? And then I've given you some details, kind of an overview about this ebook service. Then over here on the right is information and tutorials. So some of them are things that I have written, or sometimes it's a screencast. This past spring, whenever school was closed, I did a lot of blog posts and screencasts that would highlight our different ebook services. And sometimes this is information created by someone else or posted by the company. So this is where I'm saying I like to kind of lay out a buffet for you. I'm going to give you kind of an overview of these things, and then later on, if any of these appeal to you, you can come back and look at more information. I also did a screenshot of all of these different ebook platforms. Since we are presenting online, I thought that might be safer than trying to click on each ebook service and hope that it would pull up. So I'm going to kind of toggle back and forth here with some screenshots. So the first service that I want to talk about is free from the State Library. It's called Britannica eStacks. It's got nonfiction books for K through 12. My students especially like the sports option. So this is a screenshot of Britannica eStacks, and it has all different subjects. It has science, some good social studies, transportation, things like that. Also provided free through the State Library is Scholastic BookFlix. This is a great one even for your pre-readers. So this could be pre-K up through probably 3rd or 4th grade. You can access this at school, but the state license says that it's not for curricular use. So that means the teacher can't say, okay, everybody get on BookFlix and I'm assigning you to read this book. However, it is a correct use of the license if students have free time to get on an ebook and read, and they can choose BookFlix, or they could choose a couple of other options. They can definitely choose it and use it at school during the school day if they would like to. For Scholastic BookFlix, they pair a fiction storybook video with a nonfiction ebook, and they're organized by topic. And even the youngest students can get in here, browse, and find what they're looking for. So they have things divided into 9 different categories. My students love to go to the animals and nature. So here's what the animals and nature screen looks like. There are lots of options, but they have things paired together. So here is the fiction story, Bear Snores On, and then here is a nonfiction ebook about bears. And the nonfiction ebook does have the option, a read aloud option, if the kids would like to listen to it read aloud. So I highly recommend this one. It is a great resource, and our students and our teachers really like it a lot. Another option that is free is Epic, and I know a lot of people have been using that. It's for pre-K through 6th grade. You do have to create an account for each student. And it's free for them to use at school during the school day. Usually the way that Epic makes their money is that they offer a subscription for parents. So parents could subscribe to it, and that would let kids read the ebooks at home. However, during COVID, they've been allowing some home use for free as well. But it is a great resource. Lots of good high interest books, popular titles, and authors that you would recognize. Our next free option is Loyal Books. It is just free on the web. There's no kind of account or login, so that's really nice. This is where you're going to find your public domain and your classic titles. It has ebooks and audiobooks. It's organized really well. It pulls in things from Project Gutenberg, which you've probably heard of before, where they post a lot of classics that are free to read online. And it also pulls in free audiobooks from LibriVox. You can decide if you want to see just ebooks or just audiobooks, or you can see all of them together. They have it organized really nicely by genre, so I could click on kids books and it's focused just on that. Then when I pick one of the books, for example, I chose Little Women, it gave me a summary, and then I can either stream it and listen to the audiobook online. There are different ways and formats in which I can download it, both the audiobook and the ebook. So Loyal Books is really my favorite option for classics. They have over 7,000 public domain items. Open eBooks is an option if you are at a Title I school. There's an organization called First Book, and they offer free and discounted services for schools that are Title I, so high need in that area. And one of the options that you can do is open ebooks, and it's totally free, but you have to sign in and get an account and be approved that yes, you are a Title I school. And then they will send you codes for your students to use open ebooks. The only negative that I see is that open ebooks has to be used on a mobile device with an app, so it doesn't work on Chromebooks at this time. On their website, it says check back. So I don't know if that's currently in development, you know, how close we are to that happening. So because of that, I don't push it a lot at my school. There might be some students who would use it on a mobile device, but it's not handy for just everybody sitting down with their school issued device. But it has a great platform. It's easy to use. I've downloaded on my phone and tried it, and it has some really good quality books, and it's got early grades, middle grades, and high school. So that could be an option if you are a Title I school. Another good thing to do is find out what your public library offers with ebooks and audiobooks. Our public library here in Sterling is part of a consortium, and they belong to the Sunflower E-Library, and I have promoted that to students and let them know if you're a person that really likes audiobooks and ebooks, here's how you can get on and do that. Another free service that is for younger students is called Unite for Literacy. I love it because it's very simple. Even your pre-readers could use it. It's very uncluttered, and it's, I would say, pre-K through maybe second grade. It's nonfiction books. So these are unique titles. Unite for Literacy publishes their own ebooks. So I have not seen on there any authors that I recognized. So if you're looking for books with AR tests, this is not going to be one for you. But if you're just wanting a place where kids can go on and read, it's very engaging photos and pictures, and it does give you the option that it will narrate the stories aloud for you. And I believe it includes other languages other than English as well. And then our state library, besides the ebooks just for kids, they offer a lot of other great ebooks options. I'm going to go straight here to their ebooks for kids, because that really lets you break it down if you're saying, okay, I know the state library offers lots of great ebook and digital audiobook platforms, but I really just want to focus it in for school. So there are, of course, the Bookflix and Britannica eStacks that we talked about, but then within their other lending services on this page, on the state library page, they are breaking it down for you so you can see things that are for elementary kids, middle school, teens. So in Cloud Library, you can click here and see, okay, what do they have for teens? What do they have for kids? And the same with these other resources. So I thought that was a great kind of cheat sheet for us as librarians, so we can get right in and right to the nitty gritty, because we really want to see what is going to apply to our students. And that screenshot slideshow that I was just walking through, I have embedded it here on the website if you want to go back and look at that later. All right, now I want to talk about types of ebook models. I started to talk about it earlier, and then I thought stick to the outline. So I discussed it just a little bit. Some services are subscription. So you're going to pay usually for a year of service, and then whenever that year is over, you can either pay again or else you are losing access to those ebooks. Another option is you can select and purchase individual titles. Sometimes it is single user, meaning one person can use that ebook at a time. Sometimes it is multi-user or simultaneous use, meaning if you have 20 kids in the class, they could all go on and open that ebook. From what I have seen, simultaneous access usually only applies to nonfiction. I really haven't seen popular fiction where you can get simultaneous use. If you want multiple copies, you have to buy multiple copies. Then publishers have different rules whenever you go to purchase an individual title. So sometimes you get perpetual use. That means that once you purchase that ebook, then you are able to keep on accessing it year after year. For some of them, they're metered, meaning there are a certain number of checkouts. So maybe you purchase a book and it's limited to 26 checkouts. So once that ebook has been checked out 26 times, it disappears out of your collection, and if you want to keep it, you would have to purchase it again. Sometimes when you purchase it, it might be for a certain period of time, like 1 year or 2 years. And then after that, if you want that ebook, then you're going to have to purchase it again. The reason for that is that publishers are nervous about libraries having ebooks, basically, because when a library buys a paper book, right, when we buy Harry Potter, and it's going to get read and read and read, and eventually we're going to replace that copy and they're going to get more money from us. So they are worried because when a library has an ebook, students can, or patrons can read it and read it and read it. And they're saying, how can I get more money out of this? And so that's been kind of an ongoing struggle between libraries and ebook publishers. Another option for your titles is both Overdrive and Mac and Via allow you to rent class sets. So if your fourth graders always read Because of Winn-Dixie and it's remote learning and they don't want to pass out the paper books, it would be possible to rent those. An average cost that I've seen would be around $4.50 or $5.50 per copy. You have to get one copy per student, and that would be for a 2-month rental. But when we are talking about subscriptions, Tumble Books is the subscription that our school has, our elementary, and we use it pre-K through 4th grade, and our teachers and students really, really love it. It's animated streaming storybooks. And then there are also some chapter books as well. It's very visual, so even your pre-readers can use it. Here's what a Tumble Book screen looks like. So it's going to be organized by different topics, and they will highlight different things throughout the year. It is popular titles and authors that you're going to recognize. Another nice thing is that our school is an accelerated reader school, and Tumble Books allows you to search by AR level. So that's something that's helpful. So students can use this individually. I know our kindergarten teachers will pull it up on the smart board and use it just kind of as a time filler. If they say, okay, it's 6 minutes until lunch. You can also sort by the amount of time that it takes to play the Tumble Book. So they'll find one that's 6 minutes, and they will play that while students are kind of cleaning up and during their transition times. Vooks is another streaming service. This one is new. They are currently offering a free trial for teachers. So I signed up so I could take a look. I thought it was a very engaging site. The books seemed to me to be unique titles. I did not see any titles or authors that I recognized, but you can see from the book art here that it's very engaging. I love this, But First We Nap, and there's a sloth lying there on the tree limb. It's so cute. I can relate to that sometimes. The Junior Library Guild also is offering digital books right now. So from my research, it looks like that you can subscribe to a stream and you can choose elementary, middle school, and high school. And then they change up the books that are in that stream. So they're always rotating. the books that your students would have access to. And then it looks like if you want to purchase specific titles that you could do that. Another subscription option is called Myon, and it is from Renaissance Learning, which is the company that runs AR. And here on the site, I have a link and a username and password that you could use for a trial to get in and take a look. But it looks like they have over 6,000 ebooks. They're organized by topics. I clicked on the scary and gross because, you know, students like that a lot. And then here's what I came up with. And it was very easy to use. It worked really well. I saw ads online. I guess Google knew that I've been researching audiobooks and digital books. And I got an ad for something called Pinna. So I haven't actually tried it, but I thought I would throw it out there. It's an audiobook subscription. So they're kind of touting it for teachers. It sounds like it might be classroom by classroom, but I was impressed with the variety of books that they have here, all really good and popular titles. So I don't know a lot about that one, but I thought I would give it a shout out. And then your other option is to purchase individual titles where you get to select what you want to have and or join a consortium. So a consortium would be when you can pay a fee to be part of a group with ebook access. So a positive is it can be a way for you to get access to lots of different options for less money. A negative can be if there are lots of people in this group accessing the books, then you might have a wait time for some of your more popular titles. For some of the consortium that are available, you can both be a part of the group collection of ebooks, and then if you want, for your own school, you can purchase individual titles. So your students would have their own copy of Harry Potter, for example, that wouldn't be shared with the consortium at large. So it just kind of depends on how the consortium works. So there are 4 companies that I'm kind of calling the big 4. So if you're wanting to purchase digital books that are the popular titles and those kinds of things, then I have it organized on this comparison page. So what I'm calling the big 4, these are the ones that I'm seeing used the most by school librarians in Kansas, in my experience, would be Follett Destiny Discover, Mac and Via, Overdrive, and the Overdrive company uses 2 different apps for people to access the ebooks. Sora is the name of the app that they suggest for school, and Libby is the one that they use for public libraries. So sometimes you'll hear people talking about Libby or Sora, and both of those are connected to the Overdrive company. And then the other one that's really similar to Overdrive is called Access 360. So those are the 4 that I really looked at closely. Here's my buffet of information again. So you can get more information if you want. So when I was comparing these big 4 groups, I was looking at popular titles mainly for upper elementary up through high school. So I was looking at things like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Kate DiCamillo books, Rick Riordan, those kinds of things. So all of these companies have some perpetual use. Sometimes they're metered titles. That really comes from the publisher and how they're available. So in my comparison chart, I wanted to find out, is there a platform fee or is there a minimum fee that you have to pay every year? Is there an option for you to link to a public library's ebooks? Is there a consortium option? Does it let you do a single sign-in with Google? Is there an app? Do you have the option to rent classroom sets? Do they offer digital audiobooks? What are your options as far as viewing the catalog? For both Destiny and Mac and Via, you can just make a free account on their site, and then you can go in and shop the ebooks and see what are they like, what are the options, what do they cost, what do they have available. What I really like in Follett, their tidal wave website will let you actually preview the ebook, so you can see them right there on the screen. So I like that a lot. And then I listed some pros and cons. So some of this is from my own experience. I personally, at our school, we have Destiny Discover and Mac and Via, and I use Libby from our public library. And then some of these things are I've crowdsourced, and other librarians are the best people. They're always so generous to share with what they know. So thank you for everyone who has shared information and added to this presentation. I appreciate that a lot. And then over here on the left, underneath each ebook service, I have a link to their website. So that's where you would go, where the company is telling you about their ebook services. Then there is a link that says research. So this is research that I have compiled, and it's either a combination usually of my personal experience plus things that I have learned from other librarians. And I've just typed that out in a Google Doc. So if you want to read more about that, you can. And then a link to user info. So for some of that, it might be instructions that I have written for my patrons. Sometimes I did a screencast where it's a 2 to 3 minute, basically a video tour to show what the platform looks like and how all of that works. And sometimes it might be user info that was created either by the company or by another librarian. So all of those links are in there and available for you to look at if you would like. Besides what I'm calling the big four, Capstone is another platform that school librarians have really raved about. Especially their nonfiction is really great. So that Capstone offers a free platform, but you can also buy Capstone ebooks through Follett Destiny and through Mac and Via and have them within that platform if you have ebooks from other companies besides Capstone. And Abdo also offers some ebooks as well. So when I am looking at Overdrive I think of as kind of the Cadillac of ebook and digital audiobook services. I love their app. I've used their Libby app a lot with our public library. It works so well. It's very intuitive. It is not clunky or cumbersome at all, but Overdrive is also one of your more expensive options. So if you can partner up and get in a consortium, that is great. I talked with an Overdrive rep a few weeks ago, and she said that there is a school library consortium for Overdrive for Kansas. And so you would pay a minimum fee each year. I believe she said it was $500, and you could be part of that consortium. And then you would have the option, if you are a subscriber, to purchase additional titles that would be just for your school. So for Overdrive, they have a set amount that you have to spend every year. And I just called it a subscription, but really it goes straight to your content. And it depends on your enrollment. So with Overdrive, if you are just your school or your district subscribing, you have to purchase a certain amount every year or you lose access to those items. So for me personally, I'm in a small district. Budgets are tight. I know that I'm not going to have $500 every single year to purchase ebooks. So even though I think of Overdrive as the kind of the Cadillac, and if money was no object, that's probably what I would pick. We live in the real world and we have budgets. Overdrive is offering something really exciting that I'm just in the process of getting set up for my school, and it's called Sora Starter. So for Sora Starter, you can sign up at the district level, and they give you access to just over 200 free ebooks. And then if your public library has an Overdrive subscription or is part of a consortium, they have a program called Public Library Connect. So your students can use their Google login and they can connect to your public library's Overdrive ebooks. So I'm very excited about that. We're just in the process of setting that up. So of course, my kids at school, like my middle school and high school kids, they could log into our public library's ebooks if they have a public library card and they know where it is, and and they can get the number off of it. So I feel like this Sora Starter program removes a barrier to access. They sign in with their Google login every single day. They know what that is. And so this is just an easier way for them to sign in. So I'm really excited about the Sora Starter program. And there's more information about all of this in that research link. Mac and Via is a really great product for schools. I got a free collection, small starter collection from them several years ago, and they do offer a free collection that you can get on it and give it a try. Sign up, use it at your school, see if it works on your devices, get your kids in there and using it. Their platform works really great. Their e-reader works really great. One thing that's really exciting is that Mac and Via has just started a Kansas School Library Consortium. And I know that there are a lot of librarians who have signed up and are really excited about this. So I do not personally belong to this consortium, but if you wanted to join, I do have information about that here underneath Mackin, where it says research, and then this consortium option in Kansas where it says new this year. You can get more information if you want to check into that. Our school also has Destiny Discover ebooks. Kind of the big positive of that is that we have Destiny for our library software program. And so when I purchase ebooks from Destiny, they just show up in my catalog, and I really like that. It's really nice. There's not any kind of a separate login. Whatever I use for my Destiny login with my students, they can get to the ebooks. And Destiny does offer a single sign-in with Google as well. So again, I think reducing those number of passwords, if kids can get in with their Google password that they already know, that is removing a barrier to access, right? Because I think we've all felt, oh my gosh, I have so many online accounts and I'm not supposed to use the same username and password for everything. How do I get into this? So I really like the option of the Google single sign-in. My negative of my Destiny Discover ebooks is I feel like compared to the other services, the e-reader is a little bit clunky and there's a lag on the page turns. So I hope that Follett will work on making their e-reader a little bit less clunky, because otherwise I do like having it within Destiny, and our students have been using it a lot and enjoying it. Access 360 is a product from Baker and Taylor. I would say it's comparable to Overdrive. I did not talk to any librarians that subscribe to it through their school, but the Johnson County Public Library has Access 360. And so the Johnson County schools are able to connect their students to the public library account, and they're able to sign in with school credentials. I don't believe it's a Google sign-in, but it is with school credentials. One librarian told me it was they used their Destiny sign-in. So it's another really great service as well. Okay, and I talked about Capstone a little bit. Capstone had a free trial in the spring, so I jumped on and I did create a little screencast so that kind of would walk you through it if you want to see some of what Capstone looks like. And the same thing for Abdo. They had a free trial in the spring when schools were shutting down, and I did a little screencast. I wanted to compare ebook prices. I was only able to compare them for Mac and Via and for Follett, because for Overdrive, you have to be a customer to get into their catalog and to be able to see what their prices are. And I wasn't able to get into an Access 360 catalog either. When I talked to the Overdrive rep, she indicated that Overdrive ebook prices average about $20 per book. And I'm sure, just like with print books, You know, that can be higher, that can be lower, but that was the average. So I was basically pricing Follett versus Mac and Via. Most of the time they were very comparable. Mac and Via does sometimes run specials on their ebooks. So, excuse me, those specials are for a limited time. I have not seen Follett run a special, but I did pull up a little price comparison. And again, I was looking at kind of upper elementary through middle school titles, because I feel like those are my big ebook users at my school anyway. And I made notes about what the license was, what the price is. And I put in some digital audiobooks as well. From my experience, I have not seen a digital audiobook subscription or digital audiobook that was metered. I've only seen them where it's perpetual use. So I pay $60 for a digital audiobook of Restart by Gordon Corman, and that's going to stay in my collection. So I could be wrong, but just from my research and what I've seen, that's what I've noticed. It's more the ebooks that are the different metered, or maybe for 2 years, or those kinds of things. Of course, funding is always a challenge. I am part of the South Central Kansas Library System. When we're talking about regional library systems, they are the absolute best. I love them so much. And they have really excellent grant programs. They do such a good job of providing just what you need. So when I started my ebook collection, they were providing specific ebook funding, grant funding for people that wanted to just get their feet wet and give it a try. They're not offering an ebook specific grant right now, but they do offer a program and project grant. And I think an application for ebooks would be a great option there. So check with your regional library system and see what they offer. Local groups are sometimes willing to put in some funds, community foundations. And I found when I'm putting in a grant application, I try to be focused. I don't just say, hey, we want some ebooks. I want to focus in either on a topic like science, or I want to focus in on a certain age range or grade range, and explain how that's going to be used. I've had some success with using Google Forms to survey my teachers to get feedback from them on what they would like. And then kind of the plus, besides letting me know what they would use and what I should purchase, it also then gives me some ammo if I'm writing a grant application, or if I'm asking administrators for additional funding for something. So I put a link to a couple of just simple Google Forms surveys. This was sent out to the teachers, and we had a grant for Midwest Energy to purchase some ebooks focusing on nonfiction. And I'm asking them some questions. And then what I love about Google Forms is it makes your responses so easy to see. And this looks great in a presentation with administrators. So would you use ebooks in your classroom? They could answer that. What are the specific topics for nonfiction? So they're saying insects, animals, dinosaurs, biographies. And so that was a good way to get feedback from them. When we were trying to get funding for Tumble Books, we did the same thing. I did a survey, and then we got responses from them. So they could tell me how often would they use it. They could tell me, this is how I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it in a lesson plan. I'm going to use it for subplans. It's going to be part of centers. I'm going to encourage kids to use it at home. I'm going to promote it with parents. And then knowing that we have limited funds, how would you prioritize this purchase? They put it as a medium priority. And so that was a good indication that they were really interested in that. Then as far as promoting your resources, I included some links to some bookmarks that I've created, some parent letters. I mentioned the blog. So this is what I did in the spring when we were doing remote learning, is I would focus on a certain ebook service. I would write just a little bit about it, about its scope, what does it include, and then I would do a screencast. So you can take a look at what I came up with there for my ebooks. When I'm looking at providing access, I want to provide access on website links. And I found with the youngest kids, especially my kindergarten and first grade, it doesn't work to give them a page where there are lots of places that they can click. So this is what we've come up with for K through 3, and especially with our younger kids. Here are 3 good choices, and we kind of do a lesson on each one and teach them how to go in there. But there are only 3 places that they can click, and all of them are leading to a place where I want them to go. So that is helpful. With my older kids, we just have a link on the regular library webpage, and they're able to usually click on what they need. QR codes, sending out bookmarks can be helpful. I try to do a lesson with students in the fall and remind them again in May before school gets out. Screencasts can be really helpful. And then when I'm promoting these things to our students and staff and parents, I have some links to some bookmark templates. So you're welcome to edit those and use them. I put things in the newsletter, parent letters. All right. So my presentation is at abprez.weebly.com, and then click on ebooks. It's also linked from the KLA page. And you are welcome to email me at any time if you have questions. And thank you all for listening today.
Thank you, Amy. We appreciate it. The next presentation will be graphic design tools to promote, teach, and engage at 11 o'clock. And I hope to see some of you then. Thanks again, Amy. It was fabulous as always.
Thank you. You're very kind.